Welcome to Speed Round Sunday on the Parenting Roundabout podcast, where we share a mini episode from our past for your weekend listening pleasure. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode.
Today's question is, who pays when you go for lunch or dinner with a friend? Do you offer to pay? Do you split it? Do you always wait for the other person to bring out their bank card first? How does this go down when you go for lunch? Catherine, what's the protocol in your social circle?
This assumes that I go out.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Which is fairly rare, but I would say that typically I split it. Typically I think unless it's someone's birthday or something, usually it's just assumed that we'll be splitting it. Sometimes when it's like a family thing, then it gets more complicated and people start fighting over the check. But if it's just a friend and we're just, the more important thing is to hang out together. So we share. So yeah.
Cool. Terry?
My mom and my aunt once tore a check in half because they fought over it.
Oh no!
When I was a kid. Good times. I don't know. I mean, I really don't. It's terrible. I have no social life. I had one friend who I used to go out for coffee with every week, and we would sort of alternate. We would go to Barnes & Noble, and one of us would go up to the counter and order and pay, and it sort of went back and forth. And also, oftentimes, when my friend and her husband came over, my husband and I would order dinner in at night. We'd pay for dinner, so she'd pay for the coffee, and so it's sort of situational. Mm-hmm. Usually, if we go to a restaurant, we'll pay. But in terms of like going out to lunch with friends, I think that we would everybody would pay their own way. Back when I used to do such a thing, and we often weren't going to places. It's like if you go to Panera or you go to a fast food place, everybody just goes up and buys their own stuff, and that works out really, really nicely. You don't have to worry about the bill. But if there's a bill, sometimes it varies. It varies. There's a family that the kids and I go out with from time to time, and there's been times where I've just picked up the check, and there's been times when we've split it. So there's no hard and fast rule.
And I'm thinking of too, like for a couple of years, I was doing a carpool with two other parents, and we would usually have to buy the kids food at some point in our travels. And we just kind of all, when you were driving, you were buying, and we just sort of assumed that it shook out in the end. So.
Right.
But I remember sometimes people would be like, what, you're buying everything for all of them? I'm like, well, next week somebody else will be buying it. So
yeah.
Works out.
It's maybe more situational than it was maybe at another time time. But different times in my life, it's been different ways.
Well,
different groups,
it's the only way I can see my friends these days, it seems, is to plan a lunch date. It's like,
you have friends? Is that nice?
Well, okay, friend S with a few S's behind it, but not many. But because we used to meet up in the schoolyard or at our kids'
that's true.
events, and now that they're all older and have gone their own ways, the kids, the moms are also doing their own thing, whether they're going back to work full time or various activities. So that seems to be the only way that I can socialize these days.
Yeah.
So our general rule, well, I have several friends where if you do the inviting, you pay.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
So, and then we take turns.
Maybe that's why you don't go out to lunch very much anymore. Nobody wants to invite.
But
I'll wait for her to do it.
We have a fairly regular schedule, so it's kind of settling in. But so kind of, it's time for another lunch again, kind of thing. The person who organizes it pays. But and then if we're going out for lunch with our friends, like if my husband and I are going out with friends, we'll just split it down the middle. We don't really go through the whole you pay for this, you pay for that kind of thing.
Yeah, that gets difficult.
Yeah, so...
Well, if you guys ever make it out to New Jersey, I'll buy you lunch.
Okay.
So,
we're going to hold you to that.
Good.
Yes, absolutely. Well, there's a McDonald's just down the road.
Well, Nicole and I went out.
Where,
I think
right?
you might have paid, Nicole, when we met.
Did I?
Or did we split it? I can't even remember.
The person of the host in the host state has to pay.
Yeah, see, there. I think I was doing my regular thing, hosting. And
representing California.
Yep. Well, when I come to Wisconsin, Catherine,
I'll buy you some cheese curds.
Yeah. Get me those cheese curds, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, the one paying gets to decide where you're going, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not about where we go; it's the company.
That's right.
So
there you go.